What's up, everybody? My name is Godzi, and welcome back to some more Umineko When They Cry questions arc. Last episode, we continued with Chapter 4, and nobody in particular died. It was just shit in the cell and stuff, and yada yada yada. They're trapped, and that's, I guess that's a very eventful episode, given how slow information is given to us sometimes, so, hey, whatever, let's get back into this. Apparently we're in the future, and we're in the hospital, or, oh, nurse, are we in the academy again? This looks like what a nurse's office might look like, or a clinic or something, I don't know. The clinic, that answers my question. The clinic that Nanjo, okay, Nanjo, hi, had opened and later passed on to his son still existed on Nijima. Oh, cool. This aged doctor was Nanjo's son, but the atmosphere about him was very different. Oh, Nanjo's son. Oh, hi. And I just heard a ding. I don't know what kind of voice to give this guy, but let's read the ding while I think about it. Nanjo Masayuki, Nanjo's son, inherited the Nanjo clinic. Unlike Nanjo, he seems to be a more sobered, indifferent person. After the rampage surrounding Rokkenjima, he grew to completely despise the press, and he never spoke again of what happened around that time. He once had a doctor afflicted with an incurable disease, but unfortunately she wasn't able to live out her natural lifespan. And, as usual, the original looks the same but less detailed. And did I look at Sakataro's? Sakataro's is good. For some reason, I think I did, but whatever. Back to the... Yeah, that's actually a pretty good one. It's the same thing, but more detailed with the PS3. That's pretty good. So, Masayuki. Interesting. Alright, couldn't think of a good voice, but I'm just gonna fucking throw shit at the wall and see if it sticks. I'm truly sorry to say this after you've come all this way, but I have nothing in particular to tell you. Nanjo's son had said that very indifferently. After the accident on that island was taken up by the broadcast in a most indiscreet manner, even my father, who was Mr. Ushiromiyas' doctor and friend, was focused upon by many with a wholly regrettable interest. I feel like he shouldn't be redneck. I'm gonna try to take the redneck out of that. All of it was without proof, and I even managed to defy all of my father's previous achievements. I couldn't do it. I still feel a great deal of resentment because of that. I'm gonna try to make him as little a redneck as possible. I think that's understandable. The same thing happened to me. I had to put up with it constantly since I was 6. True. My apologies. The doctor finally remembered that Ange was also a victim who had been exposed to the same curious eyes as he had been. In that case, you can probably understand why I don't want to have anything to do with that incident. It was an unfortunate accident. The only ones who want to make a fuss about it being a crime are those irresponsible TV shows and magazines. I am more than fed up with their attitude. Nanjo had been bathed with attention for being one of Ushiromiya Kinzo's few friends. Because of that, there was probably an aggressive and persistent rush among the witch hunters and the press to use Nanjo's son as well, a surviving relative, as a source of information. The doctor went on and on, criticizing the press indignantly. I really understand how you feel. For a person like me, who was observed even in her personal life, and whose privacy, likeness, and even human rights might have been violated, it's really easy to pick up on the anger of someone in your position. And for that very reason, I want to know, more than anything else, what in the world happened in the incident that so thoroughly ruined my life? So I came here. I'm a related party just like you, not a magazine columnist or some interviewer. Please don't get the wrong idea. I didn't come to do this for fun. Quit looking down on me. If we're gonna argue over whose life was most screwed up by that incident, you're no match for me. Ange spoke sharply. The doctor, who hadn't imagined that he'd be talked back to in such a forceful manner, couldn't help but fall silent. Sorry, it's December. I'm starting to get colds. Hold on. There we go. From Ange's perspective, the doctor really was whining over nothing. So she really didn't want to be looked down upon. It was about time to let him understand how many days had passed before her arriving on this island. The doctor realized that he'd said something wrong and remained silent for a while, looking uncomfortable. I know it's probably painful to remember what happened at the time, but if there's anything you do know, please tell me, no matter what it is. Of course, I'll keep quiet about it. I visited here today to bring some resolution to my life. I'm 18. That incident took away 12 years of my life, and it'll probably keep on taking. Since that day when I was 6 years old, I've remained shut away in darkness. Are you saying that despite that, I still don't have a right to know? No, how rude of me. It seems that since all the others who came were ill-natured folk, I instinctively put up my guard. I apologize for my rudeness. I understand. If you'll swear not to breathe a word of this to anyone, I'll tell you everything. Thanks, Doctor. Then, if you would, please tell me anything you can. It's possible that this Masayuki guy might have something to do with the incident, since I suspect Nanjo is an accomplice in the third game, and the first and the second, just due to the fact that how else would Nanjo have died, you know? As you know, my father was not only Mr. Ushiromiyas' head physician, but his friend through the game of chess. That relationship was very long, stretching back to the time Mr. Ushiromiya moved to Rokkenjima. Just how close were they? Very close, it seems. It seems that their connection through chess led my father to stay at Mr. Ushiromiya's mansion quite often. Although I may not be one to talk, Mr. Ushiromiya was extremely moody, and my father was an exceedingly magnanimous man who excelled at interacting with humans like him. It's not hard to imagine that he was a rare friend for the isolated Mr. Ushiromiya. Right? I don't know who's talking. That day was the day of the family conference. At the Ushiromiya family conference, the inheritance and how it would be distributed were rigorously discussed, making it almost like a financial conference. Which means... it was Ange. Which means Dr. Nanjo must have gained a trust so great that he was asked to attend even that, right? Hello. I'm Bob! My father was a simple doctor, so I cannot imagine that he was in a position to advise on the distribution of wealth for a massively rich family like the Ushiromiya family. He was most likely called there to assist with Mr. Ushiromiya's health, because it was not at its best at the time. As Kinzo's close friend, I'm sure my father would have kept his mouth shut, and that he was trusted not to leak the secrets of the family conference. Wasn't Ushiromiya Kinzo in very bad health at the time? Were there any medical charts left behind? Perhaps he brought the medical charts with him on the day of the accident. I'm afraid to say that the entire folder of Mr. Ushiromiya's medical charts has been lost. He was my father's patient, so I do not know the details. Around the time of the incident, did anything strange happen? Yes, there was one thing. However, it seems exceedingly likely to invite misunderstandings, so I very much do not wish to discuss it. What is it? Please tell me. He said he doesn't want to say it, but hey, he probably will, and it'll probably be a decently big revelation. For a while, the doctor beat around the bush, but after saying that much, he wouldn't be able to fool Ange by dodging the subject. There goes dog. Can't get far into a video without her barking. He eventually gave in, and after making Ange swear to herself to secrecy again, told her. The truth is, several days after that accident, I received something by mail at my home. By mail? Oh God. It was very curious. The sender was made out to be me, but I had no memory of it. Someone had faked my name and sent it. The destination was Rebun Island in Hokkaido. Excluding the northern territories, it is at the northernmost tip of Japan. The recipient was apparently a residence on Rebun Island, but the name was my father's. Oh. However, it seemed that there was a problem with the destination address, so it was stamped as address unknown, and returned to the sender, me. It was truly a strange tale. Nanjo's son's name was written as the sender. However, he said that he hadn't mailed the letter. In short, that meant someone had faked his name and sent it. The destination was Nanjo Terumasa, on Hokkaido's Rebun Island. But the lot number written on it didn't exist, so the local post office had been unable to deliver it, and instead sent it back to the sender, Nanjo's son. Weird. What was inside? I do ask that you keep silent about this. It is extremely troublesome to me as well, and even so, I cannot throw it away. The doctor stood up and faced the bookshelf. There was packed a group of dictionaries that could only have been ornamental, meant to make it very clear that the owner was an intellectual. When he pulled several volumes out from there, a large brown envelope peeked out from behind them. He took that out and tossed it onto the desk. It had been carefully sealed with cellophane tape, and its faded color and dryness made it clear that it had been sealed 12 years ago. I ask most solemnly for your silence on this matter. Being so persistent that it was annoying, the doctor removed the seal with a paper knife. Then, when he tilted the envelope, an already opened mail envelope spilled out. The envelope had a weight to it, hinting that there was something other than a letter inside. Interesting. The recipient was clearly Nanjo Terumasa. Just seeing that was a huge shock. Following that incident, Nanjo's corpse had not been found, and he had eventually been treated as dead after going missing under extraordinary circumstances. And despite that, this letter addressed to a Nanjo in Hokkaido existed. One could almost take this as a sign that he had faked his own death and escaped to Hokkaido. No, but Eva Beatrice said Nanjo was dead in red, so no, that didn't happen. Was Dr. Nanjo really in Hokkaido? Or else was there another person with the same first and last names in Hokkaido? If my father had somehow escaped from the accident and lived on in Hokkaido, that would have made us of his family very happy, regardless of the circumstances. I also thought of that possibility at first. However, the envelope's destination address does not exist. In short, this envelope was mail that had no way of reaching him. Is there a possibility that the sender miswrote the correct address? Of course, I cannot deny it. However, judging from the residence's house number, I find that hard to believe. Hokkaido, Rebun Island, Rebun County, Rebun City, 1234567. Up until Rebun City, it's fine. But I just couldn't wipe away the feeling that the sequential number after it, 1234567, was a little insincere. It felt like a fake number that some kid had made up. They probably wrote a nonsense number that clearly didn't exist. I think it's natural to assume that, from the very beginning, this envelope was sent to a non-existent residence to which it had no chance of being delivered. If the destination address doesn't exist, mail is generally returned to the sender. But even in the case of an incomplete address, the local post office will often courteously, and to the best of its ability, research to find whether the sender's intended destination exists. When they still can't find it, the mail is sometimes returned after an investigation of several days. It seemed that the same thing had happened with this envelope, and the stamp was postmarked on October 3rd. It was postmarked on Nijima. Nijima was a long way away from Rebun Island. On top of that, the destination was also nonsensical. It had taken more than a week for the mail to be returned. Dog barks again. The dog bark saga continues. Oh god. In other words, there was probably a high chance at having the envelope returned to the sender after an unfixed amount of time. That didn't work. Had been the goal from the very beginning. Why do something like that? Even before asking what it was that had been sent, this envelope was already wrapped in mystery. Jesus Christ. I'm super sorry. She's never barked that much in one of these videos, I don't think. Christ, I just stopped the recording to go stop her, but Who the... Oh, my mom's... Okay. It's a customer. They're probably going up to the door to grab the thing that my mom left on the door. That would make sense. Jesus Christ! She's not done. She's never done. Whatever. She's probably past her peak of barking, and it's quiet enough. Some of you might have dogs, and you're used to this kind of shit, and probably just want me to continue reading, so, hey, I'll do that. And inside it? Go ahead. After getting the doctor's permission, I tilted the already open envelope. From the inside came a small folded letter and a small key with a number plate attached. Small? Really? Then a magnetic card slid out. Oh my god. She really doesn't want to stop. A112 was engraved on the key's number plate. Alright, that stopped her. Never mind. I didn't know what it meant. The magnetic card was pitch black and had gold characters engraved in it. Members was written in English. That's really weird. The jet black, gold-colored card design made it feel like something very high class. But of course I didn't have a clue what kind of card it was just from that. I unfolded the letter. Its contents were extremely brief and only the following was written. Oh my fucking god! That number! Again! The same number that was written on the door to the parlor before they found George. I forgot about that. 07151129. Also written was the name of a certain massive bank known throughout Japan, as well as the word Central Branch. That was all. What the fuck? And this is... It's a card, a key, and a pin for a safe deposit box. Really? It's a pin? For a fucking bank box. Why was it on the door to the parlor then? And it wasn't a normal safe deposit box either. It was an unsettling one, which was apparently reserved only for special clients. That's really weird. After he finished putting his affairs in order following his father's funeral, he had visited the bank. Pin and key and card. There was no doubt that something of great importance was kept there. Jesus Christ. She's still going! How does her throat not hurt? How do dogs have such strong throats to the... I fucking hate it. There was no doubt that something of great... There was no doubt that something... That didn't stop her. Usually it does, but it didn't. There was no doubt that something of great importance was kept there, and he had been naturally curious about what it might be. At first, he hadn't known what to do. The card wasn't something he'd owned in the first place. When he mustered up his courage and showed the card to a bank clerk, he was then switched to a clerk of clearly high status, and was guided to a large vault in the 4th basement. I'm sorry, I have to... Be right back. Your boy's back. My mom was having a conversation with someone outside, and my dog does not like when that happens, so... Yeah, she's done now. Yay. So, let's continue. The security on the way there was strict. The doctor had himself stored valuable items, such as real estate transcripts, in safe deposit boxes before. But this was something on a whole different level. Unlike the procedure at the deposit box I had been using, with this system, as long as you had a card, a pin, and a key, you didn't need to have your identity confirmed. But anyway, I was frightened at how imposing that secure vault was. And I wondered what kind of shady objects might await me that had to be stored in a place like this. And then, when I passed the card through the reader, I was asked to input the PIN. And after that 8-digit number was input and authenticated, I was permitted access to the vault. It was an incredible scene. A world like something from a sci-fi movie. The massive, dimly lit silver room was covered with doors to safes. What? He had entered that room along with the clerk. Oh, the vault. Okay. It seems that as soon as the card was read, the vaults he had a right to were determined, so that safes he could open were lit with a green light, while those he couldn't open were lit with a red one. Oh, okay. A112 was one of those safes that were marked. By the way, there were several other safes marked with a green lamp besides that one. I think there were at least 20. There might even have been more in the other corner. In any event, I only had the key to A112. I had no way of checking the contents of the other safes. As the clerk watched, the doctor had unlocked and opened the safe. And inside... When he did, a safe drawer like a large cabinet had opened, and an expensive-looking duralumin case peeked out. That was carried into a separate room, where for the first time the clerk left and he was introduced to the contents. And the contents were... cash. Cash? How much? I've heard that a pack of 1 million yen in fresh banknotes is precisely 1 centimeter thick. Since those were packed tightly into a duralumin case of such a size, there was probably 100 million in total. Holy fuck. I didn't know because I didn't count. I didn't even touch it with my hands. I realized at once this was dangerous money. It wasn't normal to store a whole 100 million yen in cash in a case in a safe like that. It's much easier to deal with if you put it into account and turn it into numbers. When someone is unable to do that, then it's clear that there's something wrong with that cash. My mind went blank, and I instantly realized that I mustn't get involved. So you didn't use it at all? Correct. I locked it back up just as I'd found it, returned it to the original safe, and left. I have thought about throwing away that key and card, but I don't know what will happen. For that reason, I've been hiding it in the back of this bookcase for a full 12 years. I still do not know what kind of money that was. Could I borrow this envelope? No. Please just view it here. Understood. Then if you'll excuse me, there's something I want to investigate. I took Maria's grimoire from the knapsack I had set down. Then I opened to the page with the paragraph Beatrice had written to Maria and compared the handwriting on both. There was no mistake about the characteristic handwriting. It's the same again. The one who had sent this 100 million yen in cash was Beatrice herself. Motherfucker. So whoever... What the fuck? But what is it? Something's bugging me. What is it? What could it be? Angie, why don't you... Oh, what the fuck? Hi, guy. Who are you?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I got something like that in the mail. Hey, Ma, where'd you put that?
I heard a ding again. Alright, who's this dude? Oh, what the... Kumasawa Sabakichi. Kumasawa's son, works at the Nijima fishing harbor. He must have gotten his carefree, big-hearted personality from Kumasawa. Many of Kumasawa's sons are fishermen, so they're often away from land for their work. This one happens to work at the harbor, so it was only coincidence that I managed to get in touch with him. Kumasawa loved to talk, so I did hope he might have heard her let something slip, but... The same envelope and contents had been sent to Kumasawa's son, who had once lived with her. But he had been very busy in the days since, and seemed to have forgotten about it while running all over the place. However, its strange contents had apparently stayed in his memory, and he remembered as soon as Ange mentioned it to him. After a bit of a wait, his thin-lipped wife found the envelope, complaining that he always forgot where he put things right away. Yeah, the same envelope. The modus operandi for the sender and recipient was the same as Nanjo's son's. The sender was made out to be Kumasawa's son, and the recipient was Kumasawa Chiyo. Weird. And the destination address was in the Okinawa prefecture. Did this also happen with the others' families? Wouldn't Ange have gotten some letter then, due to her relation to a victim? Okinawa prefecture, Yaeyama County, Yonaguni City, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, again. Yonaguni Island was at the westernmost tip of Japan, and the lot name was the exact same sequential number that had apparently been chosen without much care. Now it was certain. This envelope was definitely sent with the goal of having it be returned to the sender. Its contents were exactly the same. A letter with the pin and the bank's main branch written on it. A magnetic card. A key with an attached number plate. The inscription on the number plate was A113. I see. The number right after the one on the key that had been sent to Nanjo. Most likely, inside the vault was the same kind of duralumin case, packed with 100 million yen in cash.
I get the feeling my dead mother sent it to me from beyond the grave. Don't really get what's inside, and it's creepy, so I just left it alone all this time, and totally forgot about it until today. So, you know what this is, girl? Could it be that the same kind of thing came to your place?
What is it, Angie? Look at you. Is it a headache? A headache? Sorry, my head hurts. I've got it. I know. What do you mean, you know? You don't mean this envelope came to your place too, Angie? Hey, guess who called it? I've remembered. The strange envelope was also sent to me 12 years ago. After losing my entire family, I was depressed, but it was a really strange thing to come in the mail, so I still had a faint memory of it. It was a strange letter which I had no memory of sending, but which had me as the sender. I forgot the destination address, but the named recipient had been Ushiromiyas Rudolph, my father. I remember how disturbed I was when I got a letter I thought was from father, opened it up, and found a key and a card that I didn't really understand. I felt let down and threw it away somewhere, I think. Where did I put that envelope? I probably lost it somewhere in the chaos that followed. By now, I have no way of checking its contents. Why would there be so much money given... Unless it was just Nanjo who had the money and the others had different things? However, I have a general idea. I'm sure the contents were the same. Without a doubt, there had been a key, a card, and a note with a pin inside the envelope. Beatrice. What was she trying to do here? Did she hand out this stupid money to all the surviving relatives? I won't forgive her for mocking them even after their deaths. There's literally 100 million yen in that case. Go get it. Ange? Sakataro acted nervously. As I looked at his worrying face, my agitation began to cool off bit by bit. I'm sorry. My hatred of Beatrice isn't anything new. I was just surprised and angry to find out that I had a connection with the witch already at the age of 6 on that day. For the past 12 years, you've been constantly enslaved by Beatrice's curse. This might be proof of that a curse. But please, hang in there. Breaking through that was supposed to be part of the goal of this journey. That's right. Just letting the blood rise to my head won't get me anywhere. Got to think calmly. What's going on? What's the meaning of handing out 100 million yen to the relatives? Is she trying to provoke us? Damn that Beatrice. Angie, calm down. Uryu. As Sakataro buried his head in my stomach, he urged me to stay calm. I took another deep breath and started thinking. I wonder if this envelope was sent to support the theory that Beatrice was behind that crime. It was postmarked right before the family conference, and it was intentionally set up so that it would be sent back after some time. They wanted it to arrive after the incident. Is that it? Yeah, that's what it implies. But it raises a few questions. Why use such an uncertain method? Does that mean the Sumaderas got one in Kyrie's name? Uncertain? Yes. After all, no one could even guess at how many days it would take for the mail to return before you use this trick. Normally, you couldn't even guess at the amount of time it would take for the receiving post office to do their research, determine that the recipient was unknown, and return it. Yeah, now that you mention it, it'd be more dependable if they just set an arrival date and mailed it that way. Uryu. Maybe, but still, if they mailed it the day before, no matter how quickly it returned, it would probably arrive Monday or later. I wonder if they wanted to make it seem like a letter from the dead. A letter from the dead, you say? You're right. It surprised me, and it made me feel bad. Some mail with my dead family's name written on the outside in large letters was thrown into the mailbox with an ominous label attached. However, it doesn't really make sense to me. I would have mailed it to arrive on a specified day. I just can't understand why someone would allow the uncertainty of it arriving on a day other than the one they imagined. Ryu, but it really does sound like Beato to me. Huh? You know about Beato? Well, I only talked with her a little. Still, I can pretty much accept that Beato would do something like this. Can't you imagine that happening too, Mammon? Beato likes pranks like this, right? Yeah, that might be true. I wouldn't put it past Beatrice to try a vicious prank like a letter from the dead. No, that's not all. Beatrice would find it more interesting to do it through an uncertain method, instead of one that was absolutely certain. She would find an uncertain method interesting? I remembered Maria's diary. It had described playing with Beatrice very often. During those times, Beato sometimes played pranks on the adult relatives with Maria. but those pranks always had a touch of witch aesthetics, which was that they were more interesting when they were uncertain. One day, Maria and Beato decided to use a wind-up minicar she had brought for a prank. It was a popular toy at the time, and if you made the minicar back up, it would wind up the spring in the tires, and when you let go, it would race forwards. They had wound up that minicar and set it behind a milk jug. In other words, the prank was that if you lifted the milk jug, the minicar would jump forward and surprise whoever did it. Hoping that someone would get caught in this prank, Maria and Beato had watched the adults from the shadows for their whole tea time. They were looking forward to seeing someone get caught by it, but no one moved the trap milk jug and the trap ended in a misfire. When Maria had then muttered, "We should have put it somewhere where it would have definitely caught someone," Beato apparently said this: "The most interesting and thrilling traps are those where you don't know who will get caught, or even if anyone will get caught at all." It's probably true that you wouldn't get this kind of excitement from a trap that would certainly go off. Similar accounts occurred in multiple places, making it possible to guess that the witch called Beatrice had a fickle character and loved a random thrill. A fickle person is very hard to deal with. I can't spin the chessboard around to find out what that witch from 12 years ago was planning. Yeah, Ange is just female battler, what the heck? Saying it's useless all the time, denying magic, but at the same time befriending magic. And then chessboard stuff. Go fickin' figure. As Ange examined these, her gaze darted from place to place. Then she suddenly showed interest in the wall. There, several framed pictures were hung. Many of them were commemorative photos from when the relatives of the Kumasawa family gathered or went somewhere to play, and Kumasawa was in several. And she still wore a smile that made it so you could almost hear her lighthearted ha 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 laugh. It's part of my distant memory, but I definitely remember that she was this sort of cheerful old lady. Did you notice anything different about Kumasawa in the days leading up to the incident? Nope. She looked the same as ever. The family conference put her on edge, so she was always grumbling about how tough it was. What's this? Among the several flames, there was one that had something other than a picture of people in it. It was a picture of an enlarged relief of a door from a Western-style house or something. You couldn't see any interesting subject in particular, which actually bugged me a bit as I wondered why anyone had gone to all the trouble of taking it. As I got closer, I realized that some characters had been written with a pen. Oh yeah, that's a photo I got when Mother's belongings were distributed. I think it probably has something to do with that legend of the gold thing. Is that the chapel? I cannot tell. The witch's epitaph, you mean? It was whispered that it pointed out the location of the hidden 10 tons of gold. So Kumasawa tried to solve it too. But this isn't the epitaph. It's the first time I've seen it. There was an arch above the western-style door, and that's where the relief was. English words were engraved there, and that seemed to be what the picture was focused on. Yeah, this is the chapel. The pen writing appeared to be a translation into Japanese. The store is opened only at a probability of a quadrillion to 1. You will be blessed only at a probability of a quadrillion to 1. I don't recognize it. Nothing like this ever showed up in the epitaph or Maria's diary. In Mother's belongings, there were quite a few photos and notes that looked like her trying to solve the riddle of the epitaph. Mother was actually surprisingly fond of that kind of thing, and there was that rumor that 10 tons of gold bars were hidden somewhere. It's no surprise she got so absorbed by it. In both Maria's diary and in her grimoire, there was a description of the witch's epitaph. It had talked about how it was a ceremony to open the door to the Golden Land, Beatrice's resurrection ceremony, Beatrice's succession ceremony, on and on. Maybe the most interesting one was the last part, about it being a succession ceremony. According to Beatrice, if you were able to solve the witch's epitaph, you would receive not only the 10 tons of gold in the Ushiromiyas family inheritance, but her own magical power and name as well as the title of Golden Witch. Among the Ushiromiyas family household at that time, the witch's epitaph was thought of as a difficult quiz, which the family head, Kinzo, had arranged to choose a successor. But with the Mariage Sorcière interpretation, the questioner was Beatrice herself, and she had posed the question in part to choose her successor. There were slight discrepancies in the details of the two interpretations. Either way, its ominous contents brought to mind a bloody serial murder, and both of the message bottles drew a tale of a crime following that pattern. If I could solve the witch's epitaph now, 12 years later, I wonder if I could expose some plot made back then. I tried to solve it many times myself, but I never did have a clue what it meant. It seems that many witch hunters tried as well. I also found theories like the La Plata theory and the Inora theory in certain books. However, neither of these theories were conclusive. Are there any other materials? I think so, but they were all split up between my siblings. I don't have a clue who has what. Sorry. Just reading this English text that Kumasawa took a picture of, it gives the impression that this was a forbidden door that was rarely opened. But where in the mansion is it, I wonder? Judging by the lighting, it looks like it's outside. I wonder if Kumasawa thought that the gold might be hidden in there. Who knows? Either way, I do wonder where in the Rokkenjima mansion it was. I hate to say it, but there wasn't enough money in Mother's bank account to make me think she found the gold. She probably didn't find it after all. The Golden Witch, Beatrice, gave 10 tons of gold to Kinzo, which meant that the witch was the true owner of the gold. Beatrice was the owner of all the vast fortune of the Ushiromiyas family. The witch holding this vast wealth had massacred the humans on Rokkenjima on that day, sending large amounts of money to the surviving relatives like it was a game. Like hell, it's a letter from the dead. This is a desecration of the dead. I was once again convinced. When my family died on that island that day, they didn't go to heaven. They're being trapped by the witch even now and are being desecrated and tormented for all eternity. Okay. The last place Ange visited was a store in the region between the housing district and the retail stores, with a signboard saying Marufuku Sweep Shop. Okay. There lived the man who had been the boat captain of the ferry boat to Rokkenjima at the time. Ah, Boatman! Finally, we're meeting Boatman. Even he, who had once lived as a man of the sea, had retired after contracting a serious illness, and was now taken care of at the house of his son and his son's wife. Oh, hi, dude. I just heard a shine. Captain Kawabata, an old man who used to be a captain of a high-speed boat that went to and from Rokkenjima. At least among those still alive, he's certainly the person most familiar with matters concerning Rokkenjima. The media hoped he might have learned details of the situation inside the Ushiromiyas family from various discussions with servants going to and from the island. However, he never said anything, so they eventually began to forget this old man. And what does he look like back then? Kind of the same, and what do you look like? Basically the same again. Yeah, essentially. I feel like, the sprite artist got quite a bit better as they went on. I'll just give you the redneck voice. I remember it very well. You were still about this small. Look how you've grown. And it must have been very tough on you. I know very well how you must feel. The former boat captain was in such high spirits that you couldn't really tell why he had retired in the first place. His memory seemed clear too, and he could remember the events of more than a decade ago. Well, apparently even about how Ange had been at the time. The way he chatted on was very helpful for Ange, but at the same time, he also remembered the final family conference very well. And the fact that he remembered even details like Batware's fall madness on the boat was actually painful for her. It had been so back then as well, but even now there was no public way to cross to Rokkenjima. It was necessary to make an individual request to an owner of a boat to make the voyage. I'd been unable to arrange for a boat to Rokkenjima, so if he refused me, such a voyage would probably become hopeless. I getcha. It won't be easy to find a boat eager to go to that island. By now, there are even some who call it by its old name, Akujikishima instead of Rokkenjima. It's understandable why the sailors around here would turn down your request. From the start, fishermen had feared Rokkenjima as an island of misfortune, and because of that incident 12 years ago, this fear had reached a peak. They respected the sea, feared it, and revered it. There were almost no sailors who would try to take a boat to the cursed island. Because of that, most of the witch hunters were unable to cross over to Rokkenjima, and were limited to taking a trip around the island. Ironically, this has caused the sense of mystery surrounding Rokkenjima to increase even more, which had resulted in the propagation of the bizarre witch stories they loved so much. Would you take me in your boat? Yep. They're supposed to give it back to me just for tomorrow, though it seems its engine has been in a pretty bad mood lately. Oh wow, I'll knock it into shape. He's actually gonna bring her. Oh, cool. We're gonna see 1998 Rokkenjima. Cool. The former boat captain promised that tomorrow he would go back to his previous job and take a boat out to Rokkenjima. Now my method of transport to Rokkenjima is insured. This is probably all I can do on Nijima. All that's left is tomorrow. On Rokkenjima, I'll reach the final destination, Dootaloo, of a journey that stretches back 12 years. Isn't that great? This way it looks like you'll be able to go to the island. It sure does. I'd heard that it would be hard to find a boat, so the boat captain's helpfulness really saved me. Although it may not be the same as it was for you, Ange, I'm sure the incident 12 years ago has been a thorn for the boat captain as well, one that he still hasn't been able to pull out. Ryu, even the boat captain wasn't able to sort out his feelings this whole time. That's probably true. If that guy had taken his boat out on October 5th as promised, there's a chance that he could have saved a lot of people. If he hadn't been hesitant to go out just because of a little wind. Ryu, you shouldn't say things like that. I'm sure that's pained the boat captain constantly until today. He could have also gotten sucked up in it, though. Apparently, they truly had been right in the middle of a typhoon on October 5th. According to the boat captain, he had known for certain that they'd be trapped by the typhoon if they headed to Rokkenjima on October 4th. But the family had been very persistent about the date of their conference, which had been determined beforehand. It was only natural. All of their relatives had been very busy at the time, and they came for the family conference only after arranging their schedules beforehand. It was probably a situation where they couldn't easily push it back to the next week just because a typhoon was approaching. It wasn't the boat captain's fault, but perhaps you could say that he wasn't so irresponsible that he could place the blame wholly on the typhoon. Certainly, just as these two said, there's no doubt that the boat captain has been dragging the events of 12 years ago along with him this whole time. And by taking me, the last member of the Ushiromiyas line, to the island, and bringing me back safely, he might be trying to find some resolution for his past. The boat is supposed to return just after noon. I'll guide you to Rokkenjima after that, so we should arrive before evening. It's an island without electricity or lights. You won't be able to stay long. Will you be satisfied with a landing that short? There's nothing that would make me more satisfied by staying longer. I'm grateful just to have you take me there. Yep, don't mention it. If I hadn't parted with my boat, I'd be able to guide you to the island as much as you'd like, without being stingy. It's not like I have a goal of doing something in particular on Rokkenjima, so I'll be there during the evening. The evening, which straddles the two different worlds of day and night, seemed almost like a borderline between this world and the next, or possibly 1998 and 1986, and it felt like the most fitting time to visit Rokkenjima. It's not like I have anything in particular to do there. Just staying there for a few hours should be enough for me to find some closure. Oh fuck, I forgot you exist, Amakusa. At that time, there was a small knock on the paper sliding door, and Amakusa stuck his head in, tapping his watch. I nodded back and told him about how I had succeeded in reserving a boat for tomorrow. That's great. It's about time for us to go. We'll be counting on you tomorrow, Captain. Sure, leave it to me. I've heard all about what you guys have gone through. I also watched the talk shows at the time and was disgusted by the people who stirred up that incident just for fun. I'll help out any way I can. Thank you very much. Then we'll see you noon tomorrow. Here, the fare for the boat. Ange took a wrapped wad of 10,000 yen bills from her pocket. The boat captain should have noticed its thickness as well, but he paid it absolutely no interest and shook his head. I'm grateful to you. This is a sign from the heavens. I've been given a final chance to take you to Rokkenjima and bring you back safely. Now I'll finally be able to finish the final job Kinzo entrusted me with. So I'm grateful to you. I got more than enough money from Kinzo back then. I can't accept yours. Thank you very much. Watch your step on the stairs. It's steep. I went down the steep staircase that was the exact opposite of accessible. It was getting hard to believe that there was actually a chest of drawers and a TV in the room upstairs. Oh my fucking god. Most of the first floor was a bedding store, with many futons piled up on each other. Oh, okay. We weaved our way through the cramped futon shop. After cautiously checking around outside, Amakusa dashed out first and started up the car. My grandchild's room is empty. Really wouldn't mind if you stayed there. As you see, we've got plenty of extra futons.
Thanks a lot for the offer. But this way, even if the unexpected happens, you won't be bothered.
I don't know the details, but it seems you've been caught up in a lot of trouble. There's a rumor that some suspicious people are searching for someone. That wouldn't happen to be you, would it?
Who knows?
Ange played dumb, but it looked as though the boat captain had guessed. My job is to take guests to Rokkenjima and bring them back again. That job was put on hold 12 years ago, and it still hasn't ended. So thanks to you, I'll finally be able to finish it. So listen, let me finish this job, okay? Do you understand me?
Yeah. It's not like I'm going there to die.
Part of me does feel that if I could die on that island, I'd surely be able to go to where my family is. I finally become aware of it. I might have been planning to die on that island. I might have come all this way, heading towards Rokkenjima in search of a place to die. The boat captain had guessed that as well. That's why he repeatedly told me not to die.
Yeah, I won't die, I promise. After all, I'm still not sure if there's any reason why I need to go to Rokkenjima. No, I'm sure there's a reason. Even if there isn't one for you, there is one for them.
Wait, he's talking. No, I'm sure there's a reason. Even if there isn't one for you, there is one for them. The island called you. That's why you came here.
That might be true. I might have been called.
I was called. For what reason? For them. Father, Mother, Battler, and Maria. Or maybe the Golden Witch, Beatrice. What is on Rokkenjima, and what will I achieve? Even though tomorrow is finally almost here, I still haven't been able to understand my own mission. There was the sound of a car stopping in front of the store, and a short honk could be heard.
Then I'll see you tomorrow, if you'll excuse me.
Yep. Winding between the stacks of futons in the cramped store, I was about to go outside. Then my feet stopped. What is it?
What is that?
That? What? What are you talking about? Trembling all over, I pointed at it. But no matter how much the boat captain squinted, he noticed absolutely nothing in that direction that should have surprised me. That must mean... The fuck?
Impossible! Why? Uryu, Ange, what does it mean? What's going on here? I don't have a clue either. There's no way something that ridiculous. Is this magic? A miracle? Yes, this is probably fate. Now, I understand. This was my mission. Uryu, I don't have a clue what...
Shaking, I pointed into the thin darkness inside the store and froze up. What is it? You see something there, don't you? I don't see anything. What is it you see?
Thank you, Captain. Everything was fate. Even me visiting this place was fate. This is the mission and the purpose that I'm going to Rokkenjima for.
Ange, what is it? Is something wrong?
I don't have a clue either.
Wait, I don't have a clue either. This girl just froze up while pointing into the darkness. Darkness! Ange, you okay?
What can you see? Can't you two see it? It's that, right there. Can't you see it?
That's a new expression. All I can see is a normal display case. There's no one there, right? Oh god.
Ange, I don't know what's going on. Is this a dream? Magic? What is it? Ange?
Sakataro lifted his face towards Ange. From his eyes slid a single tear.
Ange.
The fuck does she see?
I understand. Maria,
and Beatrice. Ryu. This is magic, isn't it? Are you not gonna tell me what she fucking sees? Oh my fucking god, you're not gonna tell me what she sees. What in the fucking fuck? What could she have seen? Not Beatrice, or else they would have been like, hi, I'm Beatrice. Beatrice's pipe? A picture of Beatrice? What other objects could she have seen that would be weird for her to see? One of the stakes? Something relating to, that were? Ah, fuck if I know. An envelope? A key? I don't know. Whatever. This was probably a shorter episode of, like, probably only about 50 minutes, maybe more, but that's gonna be it for this episode, guys. If you liked it, be sure to press the like button, and if you didn't like it, fuck you too. Remember to subscribe, follow me on Twitter, and hit that notification bell to stay up to date on all my videos and stuff. And as always, my name is Godzi, and I'll see you all next time. Goodbye!